Welcome to the Cyber Tech Podcast, inside the minds of everyday IT and cyber pros. Your host, Mike Fierros, will dive deep into the world of IT and cybersecurity, bringing you the stories and insights of professionals who are making waves in the field. From how they got started, to their most exciting projects, and their advice for aspiring tech enthusiasts, we cover it all. So, whether you're an industry veteran or just getting started, join us as we explore the fascinating minds behind the technology that shapes our world. Let's get started.
Hey guys, how's it going? Once again, Cyber Tech Podcast, inside the minds of everyday IT and cyber pros. This is Mike again. This one's going to be a really good interview, guys. This gentleman right here, if you haven't listened already, back in episode 8, you remember Ronald Wong, formerly from ITPro TV, was on the podcast. And this gentleman right here is definitely a good friend of his and a former colleague. This gentleman right here, I've been watching him just like Ronald for several years now on ITPro TV. All the content, the cloud content, everything. Wanted to bring him on here because he has a bunch of experience and a bunch of knowledge to lay on you guys as far as trying to get into IT or the cybersecurity field. And this is going to be a really good one, guys. His name is Daniel Lowrie. He's a content creator for Antisyphon and Black Hills Information Security. How's it going, Daniel?
I am doing great. Michael, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I did watch Ronnie's episode when it came out, and I was like, look at Ronnie.
Nice.
You know, I've known, like you said, I've known Ronnie a long time, We've worked together. We've done friend stuff together. Like, Ronnie is a friend. His number's in my phone. I answer it when he calls. So I'm glad to see him doing really well. It was so cool to see him on your podcast, and I thought he did a great job. So I enjoy the podcast. I look forward to watching more episodes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Dan. And like I said before the podcast recorded, Daniel, I've watched you since I got into IT, transitioning over from law enforcement, and you guys kind of helped me lay the foundation as far as what it is to be a good IT professional and kind of set my career off right. And the quality you guys gave on IT Pro TV was such really good quality and whatnot. Daniel, for those that might not necessarily know who you are, or might not have an idea what ITPro TV is, or any training that you do, content that you put out, kind of explain a little bit about yourself and how you got into IT, cybersecurity, and content creating.
Okay, I will condense this down into the elevator pitch because I have been in the IT industry since 1999.
Nice.
That was my first IT job. I was 19, and the way I was working construction, and it was a hot, stanky Florida day in the summer, and heat stroke is upon you. And my brother comes over to me and he goes, "What are you doing here? You're way smarter than this. You should be using this and not these." And I go, "If I'm so smart, how come I didn't figure that out before you did?"
Nice.
So that's what kind of, I said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put myself out there. I do know a thing or two about a computer because, people of our generation, that's when you really started growing up with computers. That's when the first generation of people that had a computer to grow up with, really, it wasn't just a select few people out there that had them. It started to become more commonplace. And I had one. I knew a bit about it. I was fairly, it felt intuitive to me. You know what I mean? I just understood a lot about it, and I was interested in it. So I went to a temp agency and filled out the form. And on one side was all this construction experience. Like, do you know how to use a loader? Do you know how to use a forklift? Do you know how to do this? And I'm like, they are totally giving me a manual labor job. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I actually really enjoyed doing construction. It was really hard. And in Florida, it can suck because of the heat. But on the other side was all this office/IT kind of stuff. Do you know how to use a computer? Do you know how to use Windows? Are you familiar with printers? Do you know what, about computer networks? And I was like, oh, I know a bit about this. I know a bit. Okay. There's a chance. They call me back. The lady looks me in the eye and she goes, do you know something about computers? I go, yeah, I know a little bit about computers. She goes, I got the perfect job for you. It's a local hospital in Gainesville. It's called Shands. And she goes, they need someone for workstation support. They're doing a Y2K upgrade and they need help with that project. And they're one of our clients. I was like, okay, sounds cool. I didn't know about what I had to do a Y2K upgrade, but it was a computer and it was inside. That's all I knew. So I'm in. I'll give it a try. First day on that job, man, the guy that was like the senior tech was asking me about, of course, you got to remember, this was 1999. He's asking me about Novell NetWare, Norton
Oh, wow.
Ghost, right?
Nice.
What did I know about doing imaging and LAN networking, flashing BIOS? And I looked at him and I said, I don't know anything about that stuff. Because I thought he's going to tell me, well, let's just turn around then. He looks at me and goes, "You'll get it."
Nice.
Right. And honestly, it was his confidence or just nonchalantness of like, you'll get it. It's not, it made me a little more confident, a little like less hesitant and worrisome. So we go in there. He starts showing me some stuff. I'm writing notes like a madman. And at one point, I'm like, I'm out of here at lunch. I'm totally going to just make a fool of myself. I don't know anything about this stuff. I went to lunch and I'm contemplating whether or not to leave. I said, I'll stick it out the rest of the day. By the end of the day, I was doing everything that they were doing and I was doing it right. And he's like, see, I told you you'd get it. And then from there, it was okay. IT is my career. I went to ITT Tech. I got an associate's degree. I even started a bachelor's degree because they just come out with a cybersecurity bachelor's degree at the time. But, life was lifing me pretty hard at that point. So I quit school. I didn't have a job. I did have a degree, but I wasn't able to get a job. I bet there's some people out there going, "Psh,
Yeah.
right? Right? What is up with that bull crap?" And I'm like, yes. At the time, I was like, what is up with this bull crap? How is it that I have this degree in technology, which was in network systems, right? I wanted to be a network admin. I'm like, I know Cisco. I can do routing protocols. I can set up switch VLANs. I can do all this stuff. I know Active Directory. I know Linux because I had started a Linux user group in school with a couple of people that I met. And we became friends and we're like all interested in Linux. So we started a lug. And, we got so good at that stuff. Like my professor that taught our Linux class, I had already learned so much about Linux. He goes, "Hey, I've got a lot on my plate right now. Can you just teach my class for me?" And I was like,
Nice.
"Yeah, sure." He goes, "I'll just give you an A and you teach the class. And that way I can get some stuff done." I was like, I like this deal. It's one less thing I got to study for. So I get this degree. I'm not getting any work. So I graduated in 2003. Like, I want to say it was around September. I think it was September 2003. I'm throwing out resumes left and right. Nothing's coming of it. They've got a whole like student services to help you like land work. They were completely useless. I went in, right? Because I lived like an hour and 10 minutes away from school. I drove in with the little money I had to put gas on my car at the time to like talk with someone about, I need work. I need to go to work. I've got this degree and I need work. So I looked into getting certifications, ended up at a New Horizons, got like 6 certifications within 5 months.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I knew a bunch of stuff from doing ITT Tech. So it wasn't like I was stone cold newbie and I didn't know anything. I just needed to know what they wanted me to know for the exam. And there was a couple things I had to brush up on or learn. But like I smoked out Linux Plus, Net Plus, A Plus, like right back to back. I took my first Microsoft exams and smoked those out. Took my Cisco, right? Like I was just cranking stuff. And so the guy that owned that place, his name was Tim Broom. Yeah, that might sound familiar, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, you're killing it. You want to be an instructor?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." Because I was working for them during the day. They gave me a job as like a front desk person and doing operations. So I would set up classrooms, I'd take out the garbage and just, entry level kind of work. I would check people in, give them their courseware, clean, do random, like go take checks to the bank, that kind of stuff, just rando stuff. He was like, "No, you need to be an instructor. You would make a great instructor." And Don Pizzette was also, he was the head tech instructor there. He had just left by the time I came in.
Nice.
But the operations manager, he was his roommate. So the operations manager owned our house and Don was his roommate. He was just like, because he was a single man. We were all young back then, right? This is like late 2004 when we were babies and it was awesome.
Nice.
Right. So I worked at that job. I did become an instructor. That's how I met Ronnie. Ronnie came in as a student.
Nice.
I was an instructor at the time. Our operations manager, I was actually teaching a Linux Plus class in Orlando. And he called me, our operations manager, and said, "I'm thinking about hiring this guy. I don't know if you know him. His name's Ronnie Wong." And I go, "Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. That dude's smart. He's motivated. He's got a good work ethic. Ronnie is, the real deal.
Hmm.
So we hired Ronnie. Ronnie and I were working together as instructors. And then one day I get a call. Actually, it was an email from Don Pizzette. And he's like, "Hey, man, it's been a while. Let's go get lunch." And he asked me to come on to ITPro TV. We did a whole test shoot, in front of the camera to see how that would work out and make sure I didn't freeze up like a goat or something, like stare at them. I don't know what to do with my hands. It's just camera's scary. That didn't happen, thank goodness. And he said, "I'd love you to come on." And I thought, "Man, it sounds like a lot of work. You sound like you do a lot of work." He goes, "Oh yeah, we work all the time." I go, "I got a really good thing going on. I don't think it would have to be a lot for me to leave." So Tim gets a hold of me and was like, "What's this no bull crap? What do you mean no? Tell me what you need, and then let's talk about it." So I came up, we took a week. I came and saw him. I told him what I would need to come. He goes, "Is that it?" I said, "Yeah, I guess." He goes, "So you start Monday?" I said, "I guess I
Nice.
do." Yeah. So that was my beginning of the career at ITPro TV.
The journey path you took to get into IT, work as an instructor, get the experience, all led to you working at eventually working at ITPro TV. That's so awesome. Daniel, what do you think about for someone that wants to be a IT professional, cybersecurity professional, or even those already working in the field? What's the best way or best online platform for you? Do you think they should be using? LinkedIn, there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, maybe a Discord. In your opinion, what do you think is the best platform out there?
LinkedIn, to me, I've been saying this here lately because I came up with the analogy of just maybe a month or two ago. LinkedIn is like a garden, okay? And in a garden, what I want from my garden is fruits and vegetables, right? I want it to sustain me. So that's how I see LinkedIn. I want to be able to walk out to my garden and pick a fruit and eat it, okay? But it doesn't happen me wishing it so. It doesn't. And if I need food today,
Mhm.
if that garden isn't ripe, I'm not picking any fruit or vegetables off of it. So I have to tend my garden every day. So I go to my garden, LinkedIn, and I water the plants. I put fertilizer down.
Mm.
In LinkedIn parlance, that's making connections, engaging with people, putting something out there on your own. That's a post about hey, I'm dealing with phishing right now and why it's such a problem and how these threat actors are getting around 2FA. Let's look into some of that technology and see, like, here's a resource for, build a GitHub repo and post it on LinkedIn, engage with somebody and start a podcast, do something and start tending your LinkedIn garden. And then when you need something out of it, you're more likely to be able to go to it and say, "Hey, LinkedIn family, I need a job. I need this," or I don't need a job right now, but I'd like to have a different one. And you just put it out there that you're open. People are going to know who you are.
Mm.
You can't just go, "Well, everybody told me to go to LinkedIn. So I created a LinkedIn profile, or I logged in the first time in the last 2 years and I put open to work and I've put out 600 resumes and I've only gotten 3 callbacks and 3 rejections." And it's like, yeah, I mean, did you expect it to just magically jump out and give you things because you're you? I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but that's like an edge case, right? The
Mhm.
standard general way in which it works is not like that. And for everybody you could point to that said, "Well, my buddy, his first job, he signed up for LinkedIn. 10 days later, he had a job as a pen tester and he never worked in IT in his life." That does happen. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that is not normal, right?
Yeah.
So for every
Agree.
one of those people you can point to, I'll be conservative and say 100,000 others that is not how it works.
True.
So
True. No, I think that's a really good gem you put out, Daniel. Like it's for I've had a lot of people message me on LinkedIn trying to, hey, should I get a degree? Should I get a certification and stuff like that? And one thing that I mentioned and you nailed on the dot was LinkedIn. You mentioned on your YouTube channel about doing making home labs, and you mentioned right now putting your resources out there so you're known. Networking is another thing, and I think that's a good gem for those trying to get into the IT cybersecurity fields to, and even those in the fields and trying to be content creators, doing podcasts. I think that's a really good gem to help others and also networking at the same time. I think that's a really good thing to do, and that way they know, hey, well, Joe knows how to do pen testing, Mike does GRC stuff, Dan knows how to do network security. Hey, let me see if I can find these guys, some resources, or network with Daniel so that he could talk to these guys, and it just all works out. Like everybody, I always tell folks, anybody, I mean, we run into these folks that may not want to help you, but there's tons of people, folks like you, Daniel, and others out there that are willing to message you back on LinkedIn or text you back to say, hey, let me send you this resource to help you out a little bit as far as getting to the certification.
You got to engage with your community, man, so that everybody knows who you are. And that's one of the biggest hurdles. Put yourself in the shoes of a hiring manager. I'm going to give you, whoever you are, a person I've never met off the street, the keys to my production network. What level of trust do you think I need to feel from you to be able to do that? Especially when you got North Koreans faking that they're in the States and as a hire so that they can have access to your network. Now everybody's even on hire alert because that's become a normal thing.
True.
So what's the best way to assuage their fears? I'm a known entity. Please go check out here's me in my GitHub. Here's me in my group. I've got a meetup. I've got this. I've got that. And not that you have to go out and become a content creator like myself or John Hammond or Network Chuck and all these other guys. But so, I mean, if it happens, that's great. That's totally cool. But you're not doing it for that purposes. If it happens, that's awesome. True. You're doing it so that you can have that presence that's easily seen and found by people that might be prospective employers or just cool people that you might want to connect with that you didn't even know they knew. I connected with so many people early on when I started getting into security at ITPro TV, and I was working on gaining those skills and knowledge to do that as an instructor. I was reaching out to everybody. I was like, hey, I've seen your YouTube stuff. It sounds awesome. Do you mind if we connect on LinkedIn? I'm following you. And, LinkedIn was a little bit different back then. But basically what you did is you would connect with everybody. So you would connect with them. Every now and then I'd send out a message. Hey, saw you did a video today, or I saw your blog post on such and such. Man, that's such cool research. I'm going to look into that tool. Any other nuggets that you could throw my way? And a lot of times we'd be like, oh yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Here's something. I'm building relationships. It's all about tending your garden, building those relationships, and then you get to much more easily overcome that barrier of trust and unknown.
Dan, talk about a little bit your Cybercast IRL videos that you have on there. What is it, and how can listeners kind of find that YouTube channel and plug in what you're teaching and talking about?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is just my name. Just look up Daniel Lowrie. I should be the first result. That's fingers crossed right there. So the Cybercast, my YouTube is kind of two different things. I historically have done pre-recorded stuff where I'm demonstrating something. I'm just kind of working my way through a technology or a tool or a technique or something cool that I've gotten interested in and learned a little bit about and can show you and implement it. So that's what it has been. And I've done a lot of different kind of things, from writing scripts to creating very janky subpar malware, but still it worked. So I'll take the win when I can, just to see if I bypass something as simple as Windows Defender. By the way, as someone who's done cyber training for 10 years, Defender, you fire up Metasploit and you're like, cool, I'm gonna generate this Metasploit package and drop it on disk with Windows. It's gonna laugh at you hard and go, hey, that is not something we allow here, sir. And I'm deleting it right now. So I had to come up with a way to still demonstrate that kind of thing. So I would do something, and then I would make a YouTube video about it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So a lot of it is that, and then the Cybercast is something that's fairly new. As of tomorrow, well, I don't know when this is going to air, but tomorrow is the 24th and of January. Every Friday, I do a live stream. I've started doing this. It'll be the 12th episode, 12th installment of Cybercast IRL. So it's just I like the idea of IRL, in real life, right? It's just The chat is live. I am live. Let's talk cyber stuff. And like I really hated, I felt a lot of times handcuffed when I'm doing YouTube assets or things that are online for an organization, especially one that sells cyber training for something like a certification. So I have training online that you can go and buy or have access to for things like Cloud Plus and Security Plus
There you go.
and Pentest Plus and CISA Plus and CEH and all this stuff that I've done training for. And I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest with you.
Nice.
I worked really hard to make it awesome as much as I could. But if they asked me to do a quote unquote marketing asset, and then someone goes, "What do you think of CEH?" And I go, well, here's the thing about CEH. And you try to be very diplomatic. I was like, I really, they're always, if you really sit back, I think most people, if they're being intellectually honest, sit back and go, okay, there's pros and cons to everything, just about,
True.
with very few exceptions. But generally, you can find the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly on just about anything you look at. So CEH has its pros and cons. I don't necessarily enjoy EC Council as an entity. I'm not a big fan of cyber certifications or just certifications in general because of the modality in which they've been historically done. And there's a lot that I'm like, but I can't say that because I'm literally over here trying to sell you a course on certs. So, I would try to come up with a more diplomatic answer for those types of questions when I had someone like yourself asking me about them. I was like, cybercast ain't gonna be like that. You want to say EC Council sucks. That's your opinion. You're allowed to it. And you can defend it. And the people that are, maybe somebody's like, well, I got my CEH and it really worked out for me. I've gotten jobs because of it. Okay, cool. Now I wanted a big open forum and we could talk about anything, right? You want to talk about black hat stuff? Let's talk about black hat stuff. You want to talk about what sucks about the job industry right now and why you hate it so much and what you think is wrong with it? Come to Cybercast IRL, get in the chat and go at Daniel. I think the job industry for cybersecurity sucks right now. And here's why. And I might go, you know what? You're absolutely right. You are not wrong. But now let's talk about what we can do to fix it. How are we gonna turn this page and get to where it doesn't suck? Right. And I have seen a lot of that as well. So that's and then maybe I've got just something interesting I've read during that week, or sometimes you got to get the pump prime, right? You got to have something good to talk about to just start conversation. So I'll do that as well. I'll see something in an article. I'm always in some cyber haunt, the Hacker News, Bleeping Computer, a bunch of different blogs from different security researchers that are doing that kind of thing. So I've always got something to reach into and grab and make it a topic of conversation. That's what we do. We get in there and we talk, and we cut it when we talk about random stuff too. I try to keep it on track. But chat is what chat is. And sometimes they want to talk to me about my guitars or something, which is cool. I'm super I've been playing guitar for years. So I'll do that all day if you let me.
Nice.
But we try to keep it very focused on cyber. It's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed doing it. So I can only imagine I'm going to continue doing it until nobody wants me. Maybe I'll still do it even if nobody came.
No, I think that's a good I think that's a good open forum, Dan, that you have there. That anybody could go in there. You're teaching folks stuff that you've learned right then and there, and like you're sharing your knowledge, and it's kind of like an open forum. I really like that. I think that's going to help those folks listening to this podcast to go into your content, find that, and I'm actually going to watch your content. I'm going to try to watch it. I know it's what time is it when you
it's unless something happens, and I've had to do a couple of pre-record, or I did one pre-record and I had to miss it one time because I do it on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Right. So 10 a.m. Eastern, I go live, and we've had some interesting things occur when you keep a live schedule. That can get really fun. But awesome. Hey, it's part of the show, right?
That's awesome. No, yeah, and I'm gonna try to, as of this recording, today's Thursday. It's Thursday evening, but I'm gonna try to while I'm working, I'm gonna try to listen and watch your live stream right there, Daniel and whatnot. But I think, and I'll also add it to the podcast show notes, so folks can check that out as well. But I think that's a really good open forum for folks listening to this particular podcast, because this podcast kind of splits. It's young folks that trying to get into IT and or cybersecurity, and those kind of transitioning from like myself and like kind of what you and Ronnie did, Dan, where it's like coming from another industry, transitioning into the IT cybersecurity fields and whatnot. And I think that's going to be a really good resource for them to kind of get in there, ask you questions too. Hey, because I do see your guitars in the background. I know you guys can't see what we're.
Yeah, that's not a virtual background. That's all real
Yeah,
stuff.
and it looks really really good. But yeah, I encourage
I'll
you
prove
guys.
it.
Oh, there we go.
There. Turn the amp on, it'll light up. There it goes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
But I encourage you guys to check out Daniel's Cybercast IRL live streams on 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube because I mean, like Daniel said, it's open forum. Chat what you want in there. It's fun. You're learning at the same time. So I think that's a really good resource for those that even those who want to get into the industry and folks that are in the IT cybersecurity fields and whatnot. I think that's going to be a really good resource to go to and whatnot.
I appreciate
Dan,
that.
for sure. No, you're welcome. But Daniel, for those that are listening that might be high school students or college students or just, folks that, man, I don't even know what I want to do, but I really love computers. I love networking stuff. I like figuring out why stuff breaks and how I can fix it. I'm the go-to IT guy for my family. What would you tell them how to make those steps to progressively get into a good IT position or get into like a cyber position?
Well, I would definitely start making sure that you have a presence online that people can find and that that's your garden that you're tending, right? That you're gonna have. If you don't have GitHub, go get a GitHub right now, right?
Mm.
If you don't have a LinkedIn, go get a LinkedIn right now. And then you can pick any of the other, like just what I always say those two things specifically, but after that, sky's the limit. Pick whatever you like and make sure that you are engaging with the cyber or IT communities
Mm.
on those platforms. I don't care if you're 15 and you're like, I know when I get out of school, I want to go this way. That's what I want to do. Start now, right? Put stuff out there, talk about what you're learning about, do a YouTube, do whatever platform, write blogs, do whatever. That is the basics, and the basics that have become
Mm.
what, like, you can't sleep on it anymore. You can't go, well, that's for people that are. No, I'll just yeet 25,000 resumes, and by sheer numbers, I'll get something. That's a way to do it. That is a way to do it. That's not how I would suggest it, but it can't be done.
Mm.
So start there, get your presence going, join some communities, be a part of those communities. Like, you don't have to create a community right out of the gate. So there's plenty of them out there. So go join some and make your presence known. There's discords out there, plenty of discords.
Mm.
Like, I work for BHIS, right? Antisyphon. On Monday nights at 4:30 Eastern to 5:30, we do Ain't Talking About InfoSec News. A bunch of cyber pros gets on and go through the news that's in for that week and talks about it with their experience and their knowledge. It's a great way to get plugged in, right? You can be a part of that. You can go watch that and listen to so you're staying informed. On Tuesdays, we got a Discord for Antisyphon that starts at 12 p.m. Eastern time. This is all Eastern. Everything I'm going to say is going to be Eastern time. 12 p.m. Eastern time, so lunchtime. And we do AMA. Ask me anything you want. Throw it out there. It'll be me, Zach Hill, right? Probably a couple of our pen testers from BHIS, maybe some other people from our community, and we just get in. And you can ask till your heart's content, and we go crazy. We love it. It's so much fun. Get in there, make yourself known. Throw a GIF into Discord, man. It's so, like, it's very entertaining, by the way, to get it.
Nice.
Like, sometimes they will just that chat will catch me with a GIF or something, and I'm dead serious about something, and I'll be like, oh man, oh, you got me. That's funny. That's some good funny right there. Right. So
Nice.
it's a lot of fun to do that. On Wednesdays, we do our Anticast, where we'll have an industry professional come in and give a 1-hour talk. And we do it on Zoom. We have pre-show banter for 30 minutes. So it's just like jamokes like myself and others. And we get in there. We just have a good time, and we cut up and get the creative, the mojo flowing. so that when the presenter is ready to present and it's time to turn that on, they're already ready to rock and having fun, and you're having fun. And then they're going to tell you something very useful, interesting, and stuff like that. But go be a part of that. Throw your name, get into those Discord channels, throw your gifts in, make us laugh, have some fun. Every time we get done with that, we do another AMA in the Zoom. So if register with the Zoom, you can jump into the AMA afterwards and ask questions. You turn your camera on, you turn your microphone on and go, hey, I've got a question about blank.
Really good nuggets you're giving out here, Daniel, for listeners of this podcast. And I know it's gonna be really impactful for them and whatnot.
Only reason I know this stuff is because I've been around the block a few times. You know what I mean? And you go, oh, okay. You start to recognize patterns and you see what works and what doesn't work. So I want to save you guys the trouble of having to have years of experience, and just go ahead and shove you to the front of the line and go, hey, if you're looking for cyber work, this is the way to go get it. Don't go that way. That's going around your elbow to get to your backside,
Yeah, and I think folks, even those transitioning from another industry into IT or cybersecurity, I think they see that like, man, the IT is such a very broad term, broad industry, and so is cyber. So it's like, how do I get there? So you're kind of like in that maze. Like, how do you get to the place you want to get to? You go left or right? Those little old puzzles you do in those books and whatnot. And when you find folks like yourself, Daniel, Network Chuck, Professor Messer, those you guys are like the ones that kind of guiding us, whether you know it or not. You're guiding us to those things, and it's like, okay, hey, Daniel said I think he thinks this is really good. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it for myself, and it makes it, I want to say easier, because you got to put in the work in and to get there, but it makes it a lot. You feel more confident as far as like, someone like yourself, Daniel, giving advice and whatnot. And
I'm glad you mentioned that it's a lot of work, because it is, right? It is. My wife and I always joke about my second job, which is answering questions on LinkedIn and doing LinkedIn stuff and doing podcasts in the evening like this. And, I've got a little one right now who's just like waiting for me to get done so that I can watch a movie with her tonight. And I said, well, as soon as I'm done, we will hang out, because, it can be really difficult when you got a family. Yeah. And, if you're just a single person that's out there and you don't have a lot of responsibility, man, take advantage of that while you have it, but expect to work. And if you like this, it's not that bad. It's kind of fun, right? I wouldn't do this if it wasn't fun. I gotta be honest with you.
I have one more fun question for you before we go.
Let's do it. Only if it's fun. If it's not fun, I'm just hanging up.
Oh, no, no, it'll be fun. Let's see. If you could describe your ideal IT or cyber dream team with fictional characters from movies, games, or TV, who would make the cut and why?
If I can make a cyber dream team or an IT dream team, well, I've got some friends that I would love to, if we were building the cyber Avengers, as it were.
Oh, there we go.
So like Mike Saunders from Red Siege, good friend of mine, dude's smart.
Nice.
Corey Overstreet from Red Siege, another solid hacker. John Strand he's literally probably, I'll put him in the top. I'll rank him down and I'll say he's at least in the top 5 smartest people I've ever met in my life.
Nice.
Dude is just a 100,000-watt bulb when it comes to knowledge, experience. He's done it. He's seen it. He's been there. He got the t-shirt. He washed the t-shirt. He sold the t-shirt, got another t-shirt. Nice. So I would have easily on my team. I'm learning some of the BHI I have. I'd like Michelle Khan, Bo Bullock from BHIS. If you need someone for cloud web app, or not cloud web app, but just cloud thing, like Bo is a rock star. Nice. Bug bounty, I'd go Jason Haddix. I'd want to pull in my bud John Hammond, because he's just fun to be around, and he's he's just a super good dude, plus wicked smart, good dude. Yeah. I mean, how like constrained am I here? Because I could keep going, honestly. Tim Medine, Red Siege, smart guy, like invented curb roasting, right? Like,
Nice.
shall we continue? Because I could name names all day, and those
Oh
are all
man.
real people. They-
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a real cyber. That's a real cyber dream team right there. No,
yeah.
I agree. Thanks, Daniel, for being on the podcast, man. It just like Ronnie, man. Like you guys, I looked up to you guys without you guys knowing it, and just like the thousands of other IT professionals, cybersecurity professionals out there.
Oh, stop. Stop. I really appreciate that. It's
Sure,
very kind of you to say.
for
I'm
sure.
just a dude on the internet. So if you want to reach out to me, reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn all the time.
Perfect.
I do live stuff every week with Antisyphon and BHIS. Check me out in Discord. Go check out my YouTube channel. Like I said, just look up my name. It should be YouTube / @Daniel Lowrie. All one word that I'm doing. I'm going to be on a few other podcasts here pretty soon. We got Wild West Hackin' Fest Mile High in Denver coming up in February. Still tickets open. Trust me, Wild West Hackin' Fest is one of those things you don't want to miss if you can make it. We're going to have another one in October in Deadwood, South Dakota. They're talking about expanding. Like, there's a lot of talks about. Go to cons. I love good cons. Wild West Hackin' Fest is my favorite con. Probably be at a B-Sides in Florida coming soon, very, very shortly. I like to go to B-Sides Tampa, B-Sides Orlando, B-Sides St. Pete. So a couple opportunities if you are a Floridian and you're going to be there. I'll be in real life. I'll be there. You can go, hey, it's that guy from the internet that told me to have fun.
No, I appreciate it, Daniel. And like I said, I'll put on the show notes, I'll put your contact information, your YouTube channel, all that stuff on there for you, for people, folks.
Thank you.
Can for sure. You're welcome. The folks can plug into your content too. Thanks again, Daniel, and thanks for you guys for listening to episode number 12 of the CyberTech Podcast, Inside the Minds of Everyday IT and Cyber Pros. You listening to Daniel Lowrie. He's the content creator for Antisyphon, Black Hills Information Security. And thanks again, Daniel.
Thank you.
See you guys.